number one source, Sports Card Nation. The hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 349 of Sports Card Nation podcast. Little bit of a treat, at least I think so. Every year I've been blessed to do a main stage performance at the National for the last, I think, 5 years. And each year I try to bring up different folks to be a part of it. And so keep it fresh. And this year was no exception. I brought up two gentlemen named Tony. Tony Leebrick, Southern Collector 14. And Tony De Marzio. TJ is online, and we talked about strategies, buying before the National, not buying before the National, raising capital before the National or at the National to fund our passion and our hobby. We talked about vintage cards and some tips and strategies, exit strategies, and so it was a fun 50 minutes on stage with both Tonys, and I got the audio here. So part one will be today, and part two will be on episode 350. So again, I hope you enjoy it. It was a blast being up there with Tony and Tony. Want to give a shout out to all our great sponsors: Iron Sports Cards, Sports Collectors Digest, Hobby Hotline, and Upper Deck. And today's featured sponsor is Upper Deck. And here is part one. All right, if you were here for the previous show, you might remember, my name's John Newman, Sports Card Nation podcast, and that's what this segment of the On Stage is going to be. I'm joined by two better-looking gentlemen than me, so that part's good. Both named Tony, and I'm going to introduce them in alphabetical order, to be fair. That way there's no fights up here, and we avoid that, but I'm kidding. They both like each other. But they're actually in alphabetical order to my left. First, Tony De Marzio. There is, I sometimes forget, but there's a space between the E and the M, and he yells at me when I forget, so I won't do it anymore. TJ is online, is where you can find him on the interwebs. And to his left, Southern Collector, Mr. Tony Leebrick, and producing some great content. And we're going to talk some national, we're going to talk some vintage. I don't know if there's people here for either one of those, but that's what we're going to tackle on today's program. I'm going to start out, guys. You know, for me, I can only speak for myself here. I have a limited, like a lot of people, or most people, I have a limited budget. One of the things I've done before the National is like 3 months before, sometimes 2 months before, I really stop buying any cards of significance. I'm not saying I don't buy any cards, but anything of real big, lots of money, if you will, or significant money, and I kind of save up to bring it to this event, knowing with a list of 5 to 8 cards. Does your approach change for a show like this in comparison to maybe a local show or a show you're doing or attending on the local level?
That's a great question. So this is my third National. Second, I attended with my son Anthony, who's sitting in the first row. My first National was a 1988 one. It was in Atlantic City. And that's really, my father started talking about, saving money for the baseball greats, but I was too busy buying 87 Flair rack packs and grabbing Wally Joyner and those other types of cards. But with that, and remembering how that was and how last year went, I always tried to save up my budget for the hobby, especially for the National. But it's hard because you have wonderful regional shows like the Philly show, you have the Chantilly show, and the Boston Shriners. So it's difficult, but you do try to change your approach. But every now and then you get the occasional auction or a friend recommends a card that you can find prior to the national, and before you know it, your national budget's gone. So it's just something that we have to be aware of.
Credit card.
Yeah.
Tony Squared, I guess we'll call it Tony Leebrick.
Yeah, so this is only my second national. Now, I've gone to some I'm in Nashville, and we have a pretty good show there that has a lot of the national dealers that I go to, but I more budget my money towards when a big auction, when I get word that there's a big card that I want that fits in my lane that doesn't come up very often. That's what I kind of save my budget towards. The national is more of a buying opportunity, but I don't come here searching for big cards because even though there's some here, I don't want to carry that much cash on me. And also, sometimes this can be sensory overload for me. And then on days like today when it's so crowded, you can't even get to a table to see what's there. So when I know there's an auction coming, and if any of you guys watch me, you know what my lanes are, and there's different ones. But when I see a certain card that's going to be a big dollar card, I'll kind of pause. So I'm not spending a lot of money here. Well, in my terms, it's all relevant. But when I've pretty much spent my wad on this already, and I'm just going to hang out with buddies. But I'm saving my money for this card that's coming up that I got word that's going to be out there, and I'm going to make a good run at it. I might not get it, but I'm at least putting myself in the ball game.
Yeah, even it's good points there, right? And we forget about I bet on stuff in the auction house too. It's a good opportunity, and sometimes even save a few bucks from the national sticker shock in some cases.
Yeah.
As well. Things I do, I'm a dealer, so I do shows. I do about 2 shows every month. So if I have a really good show, obviously I put my sales tax. I know the IRS is here. So I put some of my sales tax to the side in an envelope, and then I put some extra money that's basically for this week, right, for the national. A buddy of mine was always going to Vegas a lot, and I'm middle class, not rich. And I'm like, how are you going to Vegas so much? And he's like, hey, I do what's called a dollar envelope, John. And I said, well, explain that to me. And he says, every day I get home and I know I'm not going back out. I'm in for the night. Whatever ones are in my pocket, I just throw them in an envelope and forget about them. And I do that every day. And he goes, at the end of that year, some years I have like 4 figures, like $1,100, $1,200, and I don't even I saved that without even really realizing it. He goes, you ought to do it. So I've done it for like 8 years. I actually did that before my first national, and the first year I did it, I think I had $1,100 in that envelope. It didn't feel like I was like putting $1,100 aside, right? That's a nice card, and so I've done it every year since then, and my lowest has been like 400. Bad one year apparently that year, and then my highest has been 1,600.
Wow.
And you don't even notice it, and that's just extra card money, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, my content creation, full disclosure, I don't do it for this reason, but it does generate some funds, so that goes right back in the hobby, whether it be for the show or for cards that I buy that I can talk about on the show. And so it's just a cycle like that as well. So those are just some things how you could save. I'll throw that out there. I know we're early in the show here, guys. Kind of your early thoughts on what you've seen so far here.
Like you, I also have an envelope where I, save money every month, but what happens is I keep a top 15 list on my phone using iOS notes about the cards I like. And the challenging thing, maybe for the both of you also, is when a card comes up at auction or you see it online, and then you have to dig into that envelope, which is your national money, because then if you don't, then you're taking money out of an account that you don't want to. So what do you do in those situations?
So I think I might be the stupid guy up here because I just don't buy anything for 3 months.
Oh.
When I say anything, I mean anything of like big time cards. So and now that I think about it, I'm kind of sad because like that means I can only buy these really nice cards 9 of the 12 months. But it's so I can come here and so what, for me, Tony, I come in here, and you know this, but for those listening, and this will come out in audio at later on too, is I come into this show with a list of like 5 to 8, I'll say items because they're not always all cards. Like one of the items on this year's want list, if you will, is a Jackie Robinson auto. So it's not necessarily a card, but so I come into the show with 5 to 8 items. I'm not going to get every item. I know that. And the budget wouldn't allow that if I found them all even at a decent price. So I come in with the target of getting 2 or 3 of them. If I can get 2 or 3 of them, for me, that's a successful. It's not that it's a not like if you come here and don't have fun, no matter what, you did something wrong. But from the card aspect, if I can pick off 2 or 3 out of that list of 5 to 8, I look at that as a successful venture, at least in the card hunting portion of it. Some years I've done better than others. Some years I found a decent card early. Most years it seems like it's Friday or Saturday before I find or pull the trigger on something. Even this year, I'm purchasing a 33 Gaudi Jimmy Fox. It's a prearranged deal, but I have yet to meet up with the gentleman I'm buying it from. So it's a done deal. We just gotta make the exchange of card and money. So for me, I hope to come out of here with 2 or 3 cards, and then after the show, everything's sort of back to normal. I take that 3-month sabbatical is off, and away we go again.
Yeah.
But for you, what's your approach like coming into the show? Do you have Tony? You said you have sort of a list of things you're looking for. Do you? Sometimes I've been told like it's better to almost not have a list and just whatever hits your eye. How do you approach your buying at the National, Tony?
So I don't really have a physical list. I just kind of know what I need. Now, I do have a list. Like, I look at the National like this is an opportunity to pick up cards. It's a buying opportunity. I'm building the 1915 Cracker Jack set right now. And the commons just don't come up all the time. You can pick up the Hall of Famers in auctions and things like that, but the common Cracker Jacks, and they're going to run you $200 to $300 a pop, but you just can't find them. And so this is an opportunity to have some really good dealers with a great collection of Cracker Jacks. So I've actually I've made sure I did it early before they got gone, but I bought 11. And so I've got those 11. I've already put them in the safe in the room. And so that's what I looked at this. Now, the main thing for the National to me is the opportunity to hang out with buddies. It's a social thing. We have the YouTube event tonight, and you get to see all the guys that you talk to on a regular basis and hang out and have a good time. And so it's things like that. I'm going to a dinner tomorrow night and hanging out with a bunch of buds. So it's just a buying opportunity. So I budget a certain amount every month that I'm willing to spend, but I have a slush fund at the same time. So if something comes up that doesn't come up all the time and it's right before the National, I'll grab it. So this is an example of one.
That's a terrible card.
It's a rookie Hank Aaron, which obviously you can see it from 8 rows back. But what's really, I'm one of my lanes is autograph vintage. And so I love autograph vintage cards. This one has been JSA certified. It just hasn't been slabbed. But what's really special about this one is it's an ink pen rookie year autograph, because like Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron's autograph changed over time. And there's only maybe 3 of these that fit into that category. So when this one came up, I grabbed it because it fits in my lane and I'm not ever going to see it again. So when things like that happen, I'm blessed enough to own my own business. So sometimes I can dip into the business kitty, bonus a little money out. Not everybody has that opportunity. So I know that. So, I'm very blessed in that standpoint. But I will do that. But going into this, I sold some cards. So I sold some cards. We're having the vintage trade night Saturday night. I got a stack of Gaudies that I'm going to sell that are going to fund those Cracker Jacks that I bought today and last night. So I do that too. I use my cards as a way to fund my buying. So that's important to me.
And just a quick correction, there is no common card in the 1914 or 15 Cracker Jack set.
I'm working on the 1982. No, I'm kidding. No, obviously that's a great set. That goes without saying. And once it's complete, Tony, it's
time to hear from one of our great sponsors, but Sports Card Nation will be right back after that.
Iron Sports Cards is your #1 source for all your PSA and other grading submissions. Their elite status improves turnaround times. Heck, they even provide the card savers. Their chat rooms provide updates on all your submissions. They also offer wax options and single cards to cover all the bases. Check them out on Facebook at Iron Sports Cards Group or on the web at ironsportscards.com, or even give them a call at 1-877-IRON-PSA. Rob's got you covered.
Let's go! You are listening to the Sports Card Nation podcast.
That's the thing sometimes we forget about, right? The journey to completion, or the journey of an acquisition, right? The stories along the way to the people like Tony Leebrick said, right? The people we get to meet and become friends with and share, while we share this common bond of card collecting, we get to know them. I get to know people, and I'm sure I speak for these two gentlemen. I've gotten to know people on a deeper level than just the cards, right? That's only the surface, but you get to know them, the person, and their even families and things they do besides cards. And sometimes something bad might happen, and maybe you can be there for them in those times as well. And
John, let me break in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
A perfect example of that was Orlando.
Exactly.
And him going through his diagnosis, and it's so scary, and the YouTube community just banded together. Everybody, we did a video. I kind of rounded people up. I think we ended up like 40 people saying good best wishes to Orlando. That he was being prayed for, and that was a positive thing for Orlando to get through it. I wouldn't have known Orlando without this. There's a couple guys in this audience right now. Nate in Cardboard Veritas. And Matthew, 1956 Top Scott, and there's Jonathan
hiding over there.
So those guys I met through my Instagram family before I ever did YouTube, and this is the first time I've met them today in person. So this is a fun thing, but it's a hobby inside a hobby, and you meet people who are really awesome people, and they're real friendships. So that's the reason, one of the big reasons I'm here.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say, and the friendships, and at least I think we all could say, everyone here, like we could talk more about items and topics and conversations outside of the hobby, like nothing about baseball cards, or we end up talking about family and sports and what's going on with the kids and just jobs, and I like that, the best part of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Orlando, he's doing better and doing well, right? And he did a video. I think a lot of people have seen it. And I joke with him now. I didn't tell him this before his surgery, but not a lot of hobby content hits me where tears are going down my face. I cry. I don't want to make it out like I never cry, but I'm not a big crier. But watching that video, it's scary, right? It's scary no matter who you are. And if you know Orlando, he speaks from the heart. He's a sincere guy. I know that video probably wasn't easy for him to make. I know he got emotional during it. And I'm sitting there in my office/studio. Thank God my wife didn't walk in. Say, what the hell's going on in here? But I was crying because Orlando's a friend of mine, and I was worried about him. And anytime you hear that C word, right, I don't care what kind, it's a scary thing. And when you care about people and you worry about people, just as a human being, even if you don't know someone and you hear that, right, your heart goes out to them. But when you know them, it's to a different level. And he was almost, I don't know about you guys even watching it, like I almost felt it was like a goodbye just in case video. And I'm like, man, I don't even if I thought that was like, I don't think I could do that. And right now we have a happy ending. He's doing well, and so that's good. But that's a great example, Tony, of just where these relationships go besides cards, right? They go to deep personal levels, as they should, and that's the fun part. That's what makes the National so great, right? Seeing people again, or meeting people like for the first time. And either way, it's fun. Doesn't matter, right? The events outside the show, whether it be a vintage trade night, a trade night, a dinner, watching the White Sox. I'm still waiting for my check to watching the White Sox play. I'm kidding. Unfortunately, Tony, to my left here is Phillies lost. I brought him bad luck. But here's another thing. You can be adversarial and be good friends, right? Yep. I'm a Mets fan, and he's a Phillies fan, and I think we get along pretty good, being the case, right? And I was a White Sox fan last night because the Mets keep losing right now to the Padres. But okay, we talked about buying. What are some straight, like Tony Leebrick, you said, like, I don't like to bring a lot of money. There's a lot of people that would probably echo that sentiment. I don't bring a Brinks truck, but I like to have cash. I think sometimes, as a dealer myself, right, when I'm set up, I don't set up here at the National, but when I set up at the shows that I do, right, cash sort of, the old saying, right, cash is king. Yeah. It's true. Like Mr. Mint, Alan Rosen, made a career out of bringing briefcase and got steals of deals because people could smell that and it was right in front of them. Well, that really is true. Like, someone offers me cash at a show, that sort of trumps an online payment form or whatnot. Maybe they're both the same, but seeing it and smelling it, there's something about that. Do you think, like, not carrying as much cash, is it a disadvantage, or maybe not as much as I'm making it out to be?
I like a combination of that approach. I'm here with my son for the second straight National, and I don't feel too comfortable about having him carry large amounts of cash because, younger guys today, they like to wear, the mesh shorts with the pants, pockets aren't that deep, and you're always just worried about, backpack picking. But with the forms of payments with Zelle and PayPal, friends and family, and even goods and services, it's a nice option, but especially with vintage dealers, they rather deal in cash. When it comes to the dealers who I go see with Anthony, they're more into the Zelle and the PayPal and the Venmo. So it's kind of a mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have both. So I'll have some cash, and then I obviously have PayPal and Zelle and other things. Credit cards, worst case scenario.
Checks too.
I don't bring those. I use them at home though, but kids today, Tonys, don't know how to write any of those anymore. It's a lost art. Yeah. So, there's different combinations. Obviously, you can trade cash and trade, pay money platforms, and that sort of thing. But and I always say with credit cards, right? Be careful. Sometimes it's easy to do. Like, I'll just pay it off, or I'll pay it back. And, the next thing you know, the bill comes in the mail, right? It's funny because when you use your credit card, you get the item, whatever it is you're buying, and you don't feel like you spent anything because you didn't yet. And then the bill comes in your mail like, oh, they didn't forget about when I bought that. Yeah. So always a cautionary tale, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great tool to use, but know that just because you didn't plunk down any any commerce and coin that at the exchange, that day still comes when it's time to pay the piper. So I've had people on my show that were very honest and said, I got in trouble, John, doing that. I ran up a 5-figure bill and really was stressing, like, how am I going to pay this? Or even, my wife sees it. I'm in the doghouse, or worse, a lawyer's house. But for me too, one of the things, I did my first show as a dealer at 15 years old in 1987 in New York, and I made $1,500. And $1,500 in 1987 is more than $1,500 today. And $1,500 today is still $1,500. And I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandma said, you can't walk around with that. You got to start a bank account and put it in the bank. So that's what we did. And I've had the same, it's switched banks, but I've literally had the same account. And it's where all my dealer money goes, my taxes, and my content creation stuff goes. And when I was dating my wife, she wasn't my wife yet, obviously. We were engaged, and she asked me. We're at the dinner one night. She goes, "John, what are you doing with your business account?" And I said to her, "What do you mean? What am I doing with my business account?" She said, "Well, marriage is a partnership." And I'm like, "I agree with you. Marriage is a partnership." I'm like, "What are you bringing to the business of cards?" And well, I don't know anything about that. And I could tell, she actually was a little peeved. Not like it wasn't a fight or nothing, but she was a little peeved. And, I said, today you may not get it, but someday you will. I'll make this longer story shorter. Many, many moons later, I bought a Jackie Robinson Leaf rookie. That was my Grail card. It came. She's not a card person, but I did show her that card. I like, "Hey, hon, I got my Grail card to Jackie Robinson rookie." Showed it to her. And she never really asked, like, "Hey, how much did you make at the show?" or "What did that card cost you?" But she goes, "Can I ask what that cost?" And then I told her, like, $7,700. And her jaw hit the floor. And she goes, "One card?" Like, she doesn't, like many of us here understand it. She doesn't. She goes, "One piece of cardboard? That much?" And I'm like, well, in this case, and I did the whole explaining that at any point you can sell that and liquidate it, so it's just money in a different form. And she gets it now, but that moment she didn't. But I also said to her, Tony, I'm like, now you're probably glad I have that business account, because that $7,700 did not come from our joint account. So that, even that approach as well, for some, if you can do that, even having a separate account where you don't upset your home life potentially, if you can do that, and that sort of thing. All right, hope you enjoyed the first part of our onstage conversation. Tony Leebrick, Tony De Marzio, great, it's a great honor and privilege. We get to do this each year, and again, I never take that for granted. And, no matter how many times I go up there, I'm not just saying this, it's still, it's still cool. It's still cool and really fun to do. So that was part one. Part two, the conclusion of this conversation, will be on next week's episode 350, to be exact. So thanks for listening. We'll have some closing and parting words and wrap up this week's episode.
Time for our Hobby is the People Announcer of the Week.
What's up, Sports Card Nation? This is Brett McGrath with the Stacking Slabs Podcast. Remember, the hobby is the people.
If you'd like to be the Hobby is the People Announcer of the Week, do a WAV or MP3 file and send it to sportscardnationpc@gmail.com.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.